Just prior to raising the taxes in Antelope, the Rajneeshis offered Oregonians a chance to cut a deal. The city of Rajneeshpuram was still being challenged in the courts. If the state legislature would write a law guaranteeing the existence of Rajneeshpuram, the Rajneeshis would move out of Antelope. For the Rajneeshis, it was simple politics.
I would like to state that I will resign as mayor of Antelope if legislation can happen in this session which ends the controversy.
The legislature has never responded very much to blackmail. This process doesn't work under that system. And I won't say this is openly blackmail, but there's hints of it here, that if you do this, we'll move.
That has nothing to do with blackmail. That has to do with practical reality.
I resented a trade offer. I certainly resent any threat of intimidation that there's going to be violence if we don't get this. And second, the case is in the court.
The case is still in the court, and its implications are the same now as when the legislature rejected the trade. If Rajneeshpuram doesn't meet land use standards, the city may come down.
Well, there's no deal. Follow the law. The law says you're wrong, you move.
And along with land use, there are other questions being asked.
We just clear a little bit so we can...
One is whether Bhagwan himself will be allowed to stay in the United States. Bhagwan came to the United States on a temporary visa seeking medical care. He's petitioned to stay as a religious leader, and immigration, while it agrees with the claim, has yet to give its final decision.
Is Rajneeshi persecution?
Immigration authorities are also trying to prove instances of marriage fraud at Rajneeshpuram. There are claims American Rajneeshis are marrying foreign nationals, simply to guarantee those foreign nationals will be able to stay in the United States. To date, it's a charge immigration has not been able to document. And the Oregon Attorney General has challenged the city on constitutional grounds, claiming it violates the guarantee of separation of church and state.
We do not see how an entity organized like this can also exercise governmental power.
The Attorney General argues Rajneeshpuram, all of it, is owned by a church, that only Rajneesh followers can live there, and that religion intrudes on all city functions.
If he ever cared to come down and visit, if he ever cared to come and look at the records, see the people, he would see there is no violation, never has been a violation, and will always never have a violation because we live within the law.
Not all the challenges to the Rajneeshis have been legal. Their hotel in Portland has been vandalized and was firebombed twice in a single night.
This is the kind of thing we've expected. We've expected it because of the kind of bigotry, the kind of inflammatory things that have been happening. We didn't expect it so soon, but we did expect sometime there would be bloodshed.
The only bloodshed in the bombing belonged to the man the FBI says brought the bombs. A Californian who'd visited Rajneeshpuram on the day before, he blew off 6 of his own fingers. Rajneeshi police report a steady flow of threats by phone and letter, direct threats of bombs at the ranch, and death threats aimed at Bhagwan or Sheila. In the Willamette Valley, petitions have circulated calling on the governor to remove the alien cult. Organizers claim they've collected 48,000 signatures.
Well, I feel that they are bending our laws beyond the point that we have never been able to do.
They're invading, maybe not with bullets, but with money and with immoral sex.
If there are Oregonians who don't like the Rajneeshis and their tactics, the feeling is no different than how a lot of Indians felt 3 years earlier. Journalist S. Nahal Singh.
There were 2 kinds of problems he encountered. One was with the the town people, and there were disputes and even fist fights with pedicabs, for instance, and with people who own property. And the general feeling there was that there were something of a mafia. You know, they tended to run things their own way, and if you happened not to agree with them, well, things would happen to you. You know, it was that kind of feeling. It was not always justified, but it was, I think it was substantiated.
These pictures from KEZI television in Eugene show Pune and the deserted ashram today. When Bhagwan left, so did his following. And years later, there are Pune residents who will tell you the Rajneeshis are not missed.
Well, I don't mind if he comes back. Pune is proper city of Pune. And if he got control over the disciples, he can be welcome. But his disciples must be controlled properly.
We really didn't like them here. To tell you the truth, we are really happy that they have gone.
It was in India that Bhagwan had announced his dream of creating his own city. At that time, his great experiment, his sannyasin city, was to be in India.
First 10,000 sannyasins will reach. Within 5 years, 50,000 sannyasins will be there. And within 10 years, 100,000 sannyasins will be there. 100,000 sannyasins have never lived together anywhere in the world at any time of history. This will be the first sannyasin city.
Tries were made at several sites in India, including one just outside Pune. On at least one of them, the Indian government blocked Bhagwan because he wanted to build on land zoned exclusively for farming. In Pune, Bhagwan's right-hand woman was Ma Yoga Lakshmi. Lakshmi was the first disciple, the person who thought of wearing orange clothing. And at Pune, after Bhagwan, Lakshmi was boss. But Lakshmi failed to find Bhagwan a site for a commune in India, and 2 days before Bhagwan left for the United States, Lakshmi resigned as a trustee of the Rajneesh Foundation. Bhagwan had a new and younger and more aggressive confidant, Ma Anand Sheela. It was Sheela who flew Bhagwan to America. Sheela who picked Oregon for the commune and for the city her Bhagwan demanded. Left behind at Pune were government allegations of unpaid taxes and 7,000 followers who were caught by surprise when Bhagwan caught a plane. One of those who left with Bhagwan was his companion Ma Yoga Vivek, the woman we often see with him in his Rolls Royces today. An early sannyasin, according to Bhagwan, Vivek is the reincarnation of his girlfriend Shashi, the reincarnation of a girl who died when Bhagwan was 17. Some of the things Bhagwan believes may stretch the imagination of contemporary Oregonians. For example, one of the goals of Rajneeshism is to achieve enlightenment. It was recently announced that anyone who dies within a 24-mile radius of Rajneeshpuram is automatically enlightened. Bhagwan also believes in the predictions of the 16th century astrologer Nostradamus. Interpreting those prophecies, Bhagwan has announced World War III will begin in 1993. That's one reason Rajneeshpuram is in Central Oregon. It's believed outside the target areas of a nuclear war. Bhagwan also believes the disease AIDS will destroy 2/3 of the world's population. And that belief means that what was once labeled as a sex cult now makes love with rubber gloves and prophylactics.
I wouldn't say it would take the pleasure out of it necessarily, but it certainly has changed the quality of it.
And Bhagwan, who also promised no dogma and no creed, has given the faithful a prayer called Gachamis. Oregonians first heard Gachamis in the state legislature. News 8 recorded them in Europe as the faithful bowed in the direction of Oregon in a daily ritual. Rajneeshism is not a faith that ends at the boundaries of the Big Muddy Ranch. Before leaving Pune, Bhagwan was already making plans. His would be a worldwide movement.
Wohin geht das Ganze denn jetzt?
Ruft da noch jemand mal an?
En overal heb je die al geverfd? Ja, die zit er nu in.
The head may be in Oregon, but the bulk and the body of Rajneeshism is here in Europe. This is where you find the majority of Western followers, and more of the Rajneeshi meditation centers, the communes, and more of the Rajneeshi businesses. The Orange people, as they're called, are recognized in major cities from England to Berlin, from Copenhagen to Italy, and they're known as a religious minority and as savvy business people. Disco may have died in America, but it thrives in Europe. And with a franchise chain of Zorba the Buddha discos, the Rajneeshis are packing them in. Packing in the young people who may be the most susceptible to the teachings of Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh. In Europe, as Oregon, it is worship to work for Bhagwan. And in Europe, believers work year-round for the pleasure of a trip to Oregon in July for the annual festival.
With our work, with our worship, we put our energy into money. And out of this money, we can go all to Rajneesh Puram, to the celebration, to the festival, to see Bhagwan. It's the high point of the year where we are all longing for to go there.
What will it cost?
Well, I don't know the exact amount, but it's quite a lot of money. But we make it every year to go there.
There was something more for the visitors to see at this year's festival in Oregon. Guns. Guns that may have convinced some visitors that Bhagwan and his city need more money and more support because they are in mortal danger. Guns that may have raised questions in the minds of most Oregonians. They used to ask why all the Rolls Royces. Now they wonder why all the semi-automatic weapons at a religious commune. The Rajneeshis clearly believe theirs is a city under siege. But outsiders may ask the purpose of assault rifles when the biggest threat may be from the courts and Wasco County government. The threat? As the 1,000 Friends of Oregon's land use lawsuit stands, the city of Rajneeshpuram may be illegal, and parts of it may be ordered torn down.
I'll be dead. I will paint their bulldozers with my blood. It will be first my blood. And I'll be proud to be under those bulldozers.
You're talking about martyrdom or resistance?
I'll be right on the road. If they need to drive over me, it's their choice.
The real choice of what to do about Rajneeshpuram may well lie with the people elected to the Wasco County Court 12 days ago. If the 1,000 Friends lawsuit sends the land use question back to the county, then for a second time, 3 commissioners may decide if Rajneeshpuram is ever incorporated. That recent election appeared critical to both sides, and for 2 months, its outcome was in real doubt.